Namaskar and welcome to Rajneeti on MATV with Rambhat. I know last week you missed us, but we were out and about, and I'm sure that you enjoyed the program. We shot live in front of Afghan embassy. और साहब अब क्या करेंगे? सबसे पहले आप सबको बता दें कि ये प्रोग्राम you can watch it, you're watching it on Sky 793. Also, you can watch it simultaneously on YouTube MATV channels and worldwide on www.matvchannels.com. इससे पहले कि प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत करें, मुझे एक बहुत पुराना गीत आता है जो याद आता है, गीत जो एक बहुत पुराने फिल्म काबुली वाला से लिया गया था और वंदाड़े साहब ने इस गीत को गाया था. गीत की पंक्तियां कुछ ये ऐसी हैं: ऐ मेरे प्यारे वतन, ऐ मेरे बिछड़े चमन, तुझसे दिल कुर्बान, तू ही मेरी आबरू, तू ही मेरी आरज़ू, तू ही मेरी जान. Yes, I'm referring to this song because I want to point out towards the a very long, deep connection between India and Afghanistan. Afghan के लोग were known as काबुली वालास और साहब कुछ ऐसे ही बड़े प्यारे बड़े मीठे लोग आज हमने उनको यहाँ पे invite किया है. Today we have our guest in our studio, the guys from Afghanistan. Welcome, Hamid Sahil.
Thank you.
Hamid, very welcome to you in our studio. There was another song you might remember from Amitabh Bachchan's, and that also referred to the Amitabh Bachchan was a character playing from Afghanistan, Afghanistan ka Pathan, Khuda Gawah. That was right. The movie. First of all, Hamid, thank you very much for accepting our invitations and being with us in this program, Rajneeti. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Before we go to and talk about the current situation in Afghanistan and other various aspects of Afghanistan, I want to show our viewers a clip which is shot in Afghanistan, showing the lanes of Afghanistan, beautiful shops in Afghanistan, and the culture and the beautiful colors and everything else which is not right now promoted around the world. Yes. So let's have a clip and let's see the other side of Afghanistan.
Definitely.
But before I show you the clip, I want to talk to you because seeing the clip from the camera's point of view and talking to somebody who actually was born in those lanes, the one who actually played in that soil, जिसने उस मिट्टी से खेल किया, and what do you remember as a childhood in Afghanistan?
Like you mentioned, it's always different from what you see over the screen of the TV.
Yeah.
In comparison to a live experience. Indeed, I'm proud to be born and brought up in Afghanistan. And from my memories, my childhood has been very fast because I've had to leave, unfortunately, I've had to leave the country in my young age. Okay. However, from what I remember, the land, the surroundings, the environment, the houses, it was joys and joys and joys all around, despite the fact of having so many security problems. But it was an absolute land that is not easy to forget.
Right.
Hence why today I'm here to represent my country.
Right. How old were you when you left Afghanistan?
I was 14 years old.
14 years old.
14.
Did you leave for security problems? Did you leave because you wanted to study? Or did you just leave because you wanted to explore the world?
No, to explore the world, that would mean I would have returned back long ago.
Yeah.
at the age of 14, I did not leave the country. I was forced to leave.
Okay.
So it's not something that was in my control. It was beyond, the situation was beyond my control.
Right.
The security threats were such where it was not possible for me to reside there anymore. And I was compelled to leave that beautiful country.
Right, right.
And I migrated to UK.
Right.
And then I settled here, and here I am now.
Who did you leave behind?
My entire family is back home.
Right.
So I'm the only one here.
Okay. Before I go and talk about your bitter experience when you left the country, tell me something about your childhood. I mean, not just your childhood, but you know, the people in general, you know, who were your friends, the people you went to the school with, the people you went on the street to play. Did you play gilli danda?
I have, yes, indeed.
And did you also play kite?
I have, indeed. That's one of the game that Afghanistan is mostly known for.
Right.
Yes, from my childhood, I remember playing in the streets near my house, in front of my house, and it was a different atmosphere. No matter what game we were playing, we felt like it's almost like a World Cup.
Right.
The battle, every child would try to win. Yes. So obviously, within that, I remember being hit many times, or even the childhood fights with the neighbors, and then how one family would go to the other family and complain, and then obviously the mothers would be laughing that look at these kids. So yes, there were some really sweet memories. I've indeed played some kite, even though I was not very good at it, but I've played, I flew the kites quite a few.
Did you also play those things? You know, there were some games I remember, and these were games where you never needed money to buy them, and one of them was a used cycle tire. You take a stick and roll it with hitting the stick.
Absolutely, I've done that.
Yeah.
I have absolutely done that. There have been times where I had accidents with that. I would hit others with the tire, and running after it. Sometime I would fall down and then hurt my knee, and then I would be crying back, and then So.
And then there was another game where we'll use used tops of Coca-Cola or other cold drink bottles, fill them with tar.
Okay.
Alcatra. Yeah, and then play with them. Did you ever play that?
No,
you didn't play that.
Unfortunately, no.
Did you play kabaddi?
Unfortunately, we don't have exact game as kabaddi, but there is an equivalent which we have. It's very similar to kabaddi, where you hold one of your leg and you try to compete with the opponent, and you're trying to push them so then they release their leg, and so then that means they lose.
Okay. I mean, in those days, you never needed money for all that fun.
No, not at all.
And it was so physical. I mean, for fitness, those were the best games.
Yes.
And you used to play it even in hot summer days.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, talking to you and reminding you that all those childhood things. I think everybody, in fact, all the Southeast or all those countries, the childhood has been same. Don't you think so? I mean, because almost all the countries were struggling.
That's right.
50 years ago, we were all struggling. We just got freedom from British Raj or something or other.
That's right.
And we never thought about computer games or other things.
Sure.
Let us now have a look at the clip I was referring to, which shows the beautiful color and simplicity, yet the beauty of Afghanistan. Let's have a look. little bit a glimpse of Afghanistan. Now, I mean, as you, me, everyone, when a child is growing, especially when he's 10 plus, when he realizes, when he starts realizing things surrounding, when he can see if the parents are struggling, when he or she can see if there is a domestic violence within the house, if the parents are fighting, or mother is being bullied or father is being bullied and so on. And at the same time the child is learning, he goes to school, he has dreams that one day he might become a doctor, he might become a scientist, a teacher, or somebody, a good profession, maybe a pilot or something. But then when things are as bad, as dire around a child like in Afghanistan, then the child thinks differently, isn't it? Most of the time he would be thinking, who is responsible for this? Why this is happening to my childhood? And that creates a rebel out of that child.
Actually,
what was happening when, because when you were young, you had to leave your country. You had to leave those lanes, those gardens, that dust, the smell, the water, everything which you loved, which you admired, which gave you life. You were forced to leave that. What do you think were happening in your mind, in your heart? And similar people like you, there was hundreds of them who had to go through the same situation. What was happening? What were you thinking?
Like you mentioned, every child, when they are in the age where they're growing up and their parents or their relatives are giving them hopes that, when you grow up, or you're doing really well with your education, when you grow up, you'll become this person. And that's how they set goals for themselves in order to achieve them and to bring pride to the family. But then if these dreams are getting shattered by looking at the security or the situation which is not allowing this very same child to go and educate themselves, then they obviously, psychologically, it's an automatic response that's being created within the brain of this child that, well, why am I unable to go to school as I could before? Or why am I not able to sort of achieve my goals? Or if they have lost their loved one, then obviously this reflects their mental state really badly, thinking that, okay, my brother or sister or cousin or relative went to school and never came back. So what has caused this? Or within the family, these topics are being discussed. Oh, be careful, or don't go to school anymore because it's no longer safe. People are being kidnapped on the way, or bomb blasts or explosions or suicide attacks are taking place. So like you placed it beautifully, it's obviously creating a rebel in the mind of those children to sort of grow up and do something about this. So it does reflect.
How, I mean, there are two types of minds, right? One who is aggressive, he will automatically put up, I mean, it's a very natural reaction. If somebody is attacking you and if you are not strong enough, you will probably pick up a stone or pick up a stick to defend yourself. And that reaction, that quick reaction, or that human nature used very cleverly by terrorist organizations, that, at very young age, there are lots of children or youngsters who were handed over the weapons. They didn't even know if the people who are giving the weapons in their hands are the same people who are responsible for their turmoil or the situation. In such case, I mean, how the children were coping? This is a very, very, very sad, very complicated situation that, on one side they don't know where to go, what to do, and on the other side that hatred is growing by day, by second, by minute in their heart, that I'm going to take revenge on whoever is responsible for the situation. And playing on that very nature, there is one kind who is not patriotic, who is not supporting humanity, who is not supporting anybody but their own self, and they taking the benefit of this human nature and creating unnecessary, a very innocent person, if you like, creating a dangerous personality out of their innocence. What do you think?
And like you said, it's obvious. The natural response is something that's within every human nature.
Yeah.
Only those feels the pain if they're going through it.
Yeah.
Others might not even get 1% or feel 1% of that pain that the very individual is going through.
Yeah.
So this is the very same technique which is being used by there are some individuals who are looking for these type of people who have been victims of such tragedies and who are being going through this turmoil.
Yeah.
So like you said, the anger is already within them.
Yeah.
They don't know who caused this.
Right.
So the very same people who caused this can easily manipulate these children by saying, oh, guess what? A, B, C, these people have killed your family members.
Yeah.
You know what to do? I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
I can supply you what you need. All you need to do is just do as they did to your family.
Yeah.
So then this is how they're brainwashed.
Right.
This word brainwash is very easily being used for such technique, for such situations.
Right.
This is a useful technique for these foreign bodies to use in order to cause further chaos.
Right. So creating a monster out of an innocent person by playing such a dirty politics, which has been happening that part of the world. We'll talk more about this, and we'll also talk about the current situation in Afghanistan and other things, but we'll do that after break. So we take a short break, don't go away.
At Leica Mobile, we do things your way. Buy a new SIM with our UK Plan Ultra online and enjoy 15 gigabytes of ultra-fast 4G data and unlimited UK minutes and texts. All of this for the low price of just £12 for 30 days. This 50% off contract-free offer is available on our 4G LTE UK network. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity. Visit leicamobile.co.uk today. Terms and conditions apply. Your data, your way. Leica Mobile.
Pure Heaven. Non-alcoholic celebration drinks. All the fun without the alcohol. Pure Heaven. Make every moment a sparkling moment.
Now available at selected Tesco stores and Amazon.
किस्मत कब क्या करेगी किसको पता है। खुशी गम शुभ अशुभ दुख सुख आपकी किस्मत का हाल किस्मत कर्मा के साथ आपके अपने चैनल MATV पर।
हिस्टन हाइड वेस्ट लंदन के सबसे शानदार होटल्स में से एक with 303 air conditioned rooms and suites, one of the largest banquet spaces in London, meeting room for up to 1200 people, conferences, musical function, weddings या कोई भी गैदरिंग, मनपसंद भोजन, शानदार आयोजन और बेहतरीन वेन्यू, 400 गाड़ियों की पार्किंग के साथ हिस्टन हाइड। फॉर बुकिंग्स कॉल 0208 572 1818।
Already got your free Brian toy? Now you can collect the all-new Miss Herbert or Stunned Herbert when you buy car or home insurance through Confused.com.
On Rajneeti on MATV, you're watching Rajneeti on MATV. We were talking about how some very clever people, some very powerful people play on human mind, their nature, and create monsters out of innocent people. And I'm going to show you another clip, Hamid, which shows the atrocities happening in Afghanistan currently. There was a bomb blasted in a car about a month ago. Let's have a look at it.
Well, I was just out at the scene about an hour and a half ago, and what I saw was some very determined, resolute Afghan policemen who were working to keep the area clear so that construction workers and other first responders could clear the area. I did not get a sense of fear. What I got is a sense of determination and a sense to do everything that they could to get this area back to normal as soon as possible.
And who is behind this brutal attack? Again, 80 people killed, 300 wounded. Was this the work of ISIS? Was this the work of the Taliban?
We have not seen a clear claim of responsibility for this attack, so it's very hard to say who's behind this attack. One of the things that is important to realize about these types of attack is they tend to be signs of weakness. Forces that are not winning on the battlefield can very easily build a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device and drive it into the center of a city, unfortunately, and it shows the barbaric nature of the enemy that the people of Afghanistan...
Clip. There was a bomb blast, people are scattered everywhere, and this is not just one. I mean, there's so many, there's such problems are happening, the terrorist attacks, bombing, killing, and so much happening. And, there are some people who are naming some. You as, you are the person who knows about who is responsible. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us, if it is just one party or there are more than one, and who is responsible for this? I mean, every time something happens, people point a finger to Taliban. Mm-hmm. Tell us.
By this point, as you said, these attacks have been happening every now and again. I would say these attacks are happening every hour or every day at least in different parts of Afghanistan. Right. Afghanistan has become more or less like a playground of explosions and bomb blasts or killings. Right. It's almost as if it's a game where lives do not matter to certain people. Right. People are dying, people are being killed on daily basis, on not on small number but a very large number. Say suppose not long ago, just about a few weeks ago, we had a terrible attack in Kabul where 450 people injured and over 150 died. This isn't a small issue, this is a very big issue. Yeah. Apart from that, we had another incident just nearly a week ago in Helmand province, where again innocent people died. The question raises that, who are they? The entire world knows this very clear, but it's just that everybody's trying to turn their blind eye to it. Right. Talibans, they openly say we take responsibility for such attacks. Right. Or if it's the ISS, they clearly say we take these responsibilities. The question is that who are Taliban and who are supporting these groups, or who are ISS, and how do they operate? Where does their ammunition comes from, or where do Taliban gets their all these tools from? Right. This isn't easy to fight. You got the international security in Afghanistan. You got more than 26 countries that are trying to create or bring peace within Afghanistan. Right. How on earth is this possible that a small group of Taliban is able to sort of cause this chaos? Right. Security is still getting worse and worse day by day. Right. Or how is ISS able to come all the way from Iraq or Palestine or other countries all the way to Afghanistan? Yeah. This obviously means that there is some strong links and stronger politicians or stronger bodies that have enough power to bring these guys very securely, place them in a town, and who can operate their activities so easily. It's very crystal clear.
So you're saying that it's not just them; these are only for front or face of that. terror is basically sponsored by some other very powerful people?
Indeed, yes.
Tell me, I mean, for many years now, America is playing a big part in Afghanistan to bring the security, to bring peace. In fact, 3 months ago they put, was it 3 months ago, 2 months, the biggest bomb in
yes,
Afghanistan.
The mother of bombs.
Mother of all the bombs. Thanks God it was not a nuclear bomb, but and it was one of the most powerful non-nuclear bomb. What is exactly America doing? What do you think, as Afghani, as a very learned and as a very intelligent Afghani representative? What do you think of America's part in this entire drama?
In my opinion, the entry of America to Afghanistan, obviously looking at the papers and looking at their policies, it was to create security, bring security, hunt down Osama bin Laden. And the whole contract that was signed between the Afghan government and the international security was for them to come train the Afghan forces, train the Afghan police, create a good infrastructure within the Afghan politics, internally and externally, and as well as, you know, create a stronger link, bond or link with the international societies or the UN. The overview was this, but now the question raises that despite the fact that they've spent nearly 15 years in Afghanistan, why are they unable to create security? What is lacking? Is it that these bodies who are trying to create this destruction, are they sort of powerful in America, or are they working in sort of coalition with them, or is it that America knows the reality and they're not doing anything?
I mean, do you think, or do you believe that you know, in Urdu and Hindi there is a phrase called chor police? Okay, so you know, there is a guard and there is a thief, and they both have enough information of each other, and they are actually sponsored by a third party who is letting both play. Do you think America is playing the same policy where, you know, all the funding and all this drama or forefront, they are actually showing that we are trying to help Afghanistan and bring peace to Afghanistan, but there is a hidden agenda somewhere. So do you believe, or do you think they are playing this game?
Not only me, I think anybody that has done their homework and done the research about Afghanistan and the current situation, I would say yes, they are. Everybody would agree on this point, and I'll tell you why. They spent over 12 years to hunt down Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, killed thousands of people in order to find this guy. Yes, at that time, even I would say, yes, they're doing a great job, you know, they're trying to find this guy so that after this, the world will be in peace. Where was this guy found? Not in Afghanistan, but in Pakistan. Now, America has been paying millions to Pakistan in order to fight terrorism. Then why did nobody pinpoint this question that you have been paying all this tax money to Pakistan in order to fight terrorism, whereas you found Osama bin Laden, the world's #1 most wanted person, in Pakistan, and not only in Pakistan, but somewhere that was in a very small distance from an army base of Pakistan. How on earth is that possible? Are you telling me that the Pakistan army was not able to investigate who lives in this palace-type compound, or in other words, it's very clear that instead of investigating who lives there, they were actually trying to provide more security to this compound.
So do you think that actually America came into Afghanistan under the, you know, deception of creating peace or hunting down so-called terrorists or a terrorist, but their agenda was totally different? Did they try to put a foothold in Afghanistan by creating a delusion that we are actually here to help you to fight the crime and terrorism, but the original plan was different? they're trying to, that the plan was to put a foothold in Afghanistan. Do you think that?
It's obvious. Nobody would come to a country for no reason. Yes, maybe they had a little bit to do with the peace, but I strongly think there were other motives behind this. Maybe it's to do with Iran, maybe it's to do with China, maybe it's to do with Russia. But because of the geographical situation where Afghanistan is located, it was a very point of interest for not only America but the entire UN and the UN allies to sort of target this place, either have their power, their authority over this country, or maybe use this place as a point of attack on some other countries if they tend to.
So use it as a base. Like as you know that the program is called Rajneeti Politics, and we always try and look the real truth behind a movement, a political movement, and one can say very clearly that yes, America was big deception. They did what they wanted to do under the deception of hunting down the Osama bin Laden. Now, what do you think of America's game plan? Because on one side they're saying we want to hunt down the terrorists and create the peace in world. On the other side, they're actually supporting a country who is clearly named as a terrorist country by not just America, by other people also. So what do you think is the game plan? Because on one side they're saying, we want to go against the terrorism and help other countries. On the other hand, what they're doing is, it's contradictory.
Look, America has done a great job in terms of reconstruction in Afghanistan. It has indeed played a major role in bringing Afghanistan back on its feet. Whether it's to do with the training of the army or the police, or paying the salary of the government bodies or other stuff. That side is clear. There have been some helps, and as an Afghan we always appreciate that, and we will always be keeping that in our mind. But on the other side again, they fail to understand that they are, from one side they're helping Afghanistan, from other side they're helping those who are killing Afghanistan, who are against Afghanistan or its reconstruction or its development, which is our neighboring countries. The neighboring countries are continuously being paid to help Afghanistan in bringing peace, not to destroy peace, but instead the very same neighboring country, Pakistan, is causing destruction and further chaos. So now, even though America is well aware of that, they are still unable to sort of directly ask this country why are they doing that.
And do you think they are creating a Frankenstein maybe by doing what they're doing?
Possibly, but possibly they have their own reasons why are they unable to do that.
Yeah, I mean the history repeats itself. Osama bin Laden was created by America. Everybody knows that, right? And he hate America, and then that big problem happened, when aeroplane went into the towers. Now, I want to move away from America and talk about a little bit about Iran. Iran is your another neighbor. What do you think, what part they are playing in terms of peace in Afghanistan or unrest in Afghanistan?
You see, this 40 years war in Afghanistan has caused a lot of Afghans to migrate. And it's very obvious historically, if any country is suffering from a security threat, or it's completely in a state where life is not possible, living there is not possible, so then people tend to migrate to the nearest country. In our case, it was Iran and Pakistan in most of the cases. Iran has seen that the Afghans are a very brave nation, and breaking this nation is never easy by force. So they have owned their own techniques and their own ways of how to cause chaos within the country by causing differences, whether it's to do with cultures or religion or religious beliefs, or maybe the languages. So they tried to use this technique in order to cause problems internally in Afghanistan by dividing the Afghan community as a whole.
And is it, I mean, are people now realizing that this is caused by Iranian?
The thing is, our people are failing to realize this in reality. And the reason behind that is that the leaders that they follow, the very same people, the leaders who they follow are the ones who are sold to these countries. Now, obviously, if the leader says, we're going right, everybody follows right, without having to question, why do we follow right? What is the benefits? Now, if people start to follow these sold or corrupt leaders, then it's obvious that you're never going to expect peace or better days. So that's the main issue.
So the Iran is not really a really good neighbor, not being a good neighbor.
Not as much as they should be.
We will be talking about two more neighbors. One is Pakistan and one is, of course, India. And we will talk more about the developments in Afghanistan, and we'll talk about China, which is playing a very big role right now in that part of the world. But we'll do all that after a small break, so don't go away.
At Leica Mobile, we do things your way. Buy a new SIM with our UK Plan Ultra online and enjoy 15 gigabytes of ultra-fast 4G data and unlimited UK minutes and texts. All of this for the low price of just £12 for 30 days. This 50% off contract-free offer is available on our 4G LTE UK network. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity. Visit leicamobile.co.uk today. Terms and conditions apply. Your data, your way. Leica Mobile.
Pure Heaven. Non-alcoholic celebration drinks. All the fun without the alcohol. Pure Heaven. Make every moment a sparkling moment.
Now available at selected Tesco stores and Amazon.
किस्मत कब क्या करेगी, किसको पता है? खुशी गम, शुभ अशुभ, दुख सुख, आपकी किस्मत का हाल किस्मत कर्मा के साथ आपके अपने चैनल MATV पर।
हेस्टन हाइड वेस्ट लंदन के सबसे शानदार होटल्स में से एक, with 303 air conditioned rooms and suites, one of the largest banquet spaces in London, meeting room for up to 1200 people, conferences, musical function, weddings या कोई भी गैदरिंग, मनपसंद भोजन, शानदार आयोजन और बेहतरीन वेन्यू, 400 गाड़ियों की पार्किंग के साथ। हेस्टन हाइड। फॉर बुकिंग्स कॉल 0208 572 1818।
Already got your free Brian toy? Now you can collect the all-new Miss Herbert or Stunned Herbert when you buy car or home insurance through Confused.com.
Rajneeti on MATV, we are talking to Hamid Sahil, who is from Afghanistan, and we're talking about the troubles in Afghanistan. And trouble is a permanent situation in Afghanistan caused by many people around the globe. We were talking about America, and now I want to talk to you about Pakistan, who could be a very good neighbor. And I tell you why it could be very good neighbor, because you are both mainly Muslim religion following countries, right? But what is happening is totally different. Tell us about, first of all, tell us about why do you think that Pakistan is causing trouble?
Pakistan, like you said, they could have been better neighbors. Not only because we share the same religion, but also the people with each other, amongst each other, the Pakistan in India, the Pakistan in Afghanistan, the nation, in general, they tend to get along really well. They have love for each other. But politically, we have a very big dispute. Right. And the reason as to why they are trying to create destruction or chaos in Afghanistan is because of the, again, number one, the geographical location that Afghanistan is in. They're very scared that if Afghanistan tends to stand on its feet, they are somehow going to suffer a lot of losses. Right. Whether it's to do with the land or economy or trade, all these factors play a major role. Right. So they are trying to have Afghanistan at its situation right now, or even worse than this.
Right. I mean, every time we talk about Pakistan and the trouble in Afghanistan, people say it's caused. Do you actually, do you really have a solid proof or evidence which says or which proves that yes, this was done by Pakistan, this terrorist attack was sponsored or provoked by Pakistan, or we just, is it just a hypothesis?
I wish it was a hypothesis. I wish it was just a theory and it didn't have any evidence. Right. The evidence are everywhere. Right. It's in social media, it's in TV channels, it's in newspaper. The Pakistani politicians themselves, most of them have agreed that they are doing everything it takes to create destruction in Afghanistan. Now think about all those people who are involved in creating this situation that we are in Afghanistan. For example, Taliban or Al-Qaeda. Yeah. These were the two main terrorist groups who were operating, and due to these two main groups, Afghanistan has suffered. But the evidence that how everybody claims, or every Afghan, or in general everybody around the world claims that Pakistan is responsible, is because these very same leaders were found in Pakistan. Right. There couldn't be any further evidence than finding the head. Now the head is hiding in Pakistan. Right. Pakistan makes claims that we will do everything to find this guy and hand him over to the international security or international forces, whereas they were hiding in their own country, Pakistan, near a very secure compound of their army.
So, okay, is it possible that Pakistan has or is trying to build relation with China? There are lots of love story going about the Gadar port, and there's a lot going on. Nawaz Sharif went to China. Is it possible that China may be sponsoring these troubles in Afghanistan using Pakistan?
It's very likely. Yes. It's very likely. China and Pakistan, everybody knows historically, in the past they might have had conflicts, but right now I think one of the most supportive government towards Pakistan is China. Behind everything China does, behind everything that Pakistan does, I strongly think that China is very well in
playing a big part.
Yes, absolutely.
What about China and Afghanistan direct relations? Do they have any sort of negotiations, any talk, anything at all?
With China is a very clever country. The Chinese politicians are very clever. I cannot easily pinpoint any country that they have direct sort of disputes with those countries. Right. They tend to show a friendly nature towards every country. Right. So it's obvious with Afghanistan they have a good sort of relationship, a physical, as in like when we look at it, apparent, as in like whatever we see in the media and whatever we see, the way they trade with us and stuff, it seems to be a very friendly relationship. Right. But then behind
it's a deceptive, you think?
Yes, behind the closed doors, we don't know what exactly is happening and what their motives are.
Pakistan, China, Iran, and Afghanistan. What do you think? Who is responsible? Do you think it's Pakistan? Do you think it's America? Do you think it's China who is using Pakistan's shoulder to fire at Afghanistan? What do you think? If you think you have got something to say, if you want to participate and share your thoughts with us, you can always give us a call. We still have about 10 minutes to go. You can come and talk to us and tell us what you think about it. What about the international community, Hamid? I mean, we spoke about the China. We very clearly see that Pakistan is the biggest troublemaker right now for Afghanistan. China is not very clear. Iran will never go out of the way to help or to offend anybody unless, you know, they got their own very, very selfish interest. But what about the overall, in general, international community, and what is their attitude towards Afghanistan?
Their attitude towards Afghanistan is obviously, they know that what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria, these are the very well-known countries where people are suffering the most.
Right.
Now, the more insecurity is being caused in these countries, the very likely the chances will be that these activities will slowly try to migrate towards Europe, as well as US and America, Canada and UK. And we have witnessed that very, very recently. In London Bridge, we have witnessed that in Manchester, we have witnessed that in Westminster.
Attacks,
So now it's obvious that you know, unless we try and stop these terrorists from carrying out these activities, no matter what part of the world they are, it's very likely that these terrorists will be at our homes very sooner or later.
What do you think about Japan? Japan is a very quiet spectator for some time. You know, it's not expressing its views, bad, good, or ugly. What do you think about Japan? What's its role into all this?
You see, they say, there is an English saying that the loudest person, sorry, the quietest person in the room is sometimes the powerful person in the room. So now the fact that Japan and other countries who are trying to keep quiet, is they are trying to mind their own business and create a power within themselves that if needed one day, or if there comes a day where they need to defend themselves, they are easily, you know, sort of standing, they can easily stand up and defend themselves. So Japan is sort of standing behind and just watching and observing.
So it's just a spectator. Now comes to the crunch, India. India has a fantastic relations with Afghanistan for all these years. As I said, that the fantastic song which, you know, every golden oldies lover, you know, mimes now and then. What would you say about India and its role into Afghanistan's development?
India and Afghanistan not only has a good and strong relationship right now, but it has been there for years, I would say more than 40-50 years. And a live example of that is very well witnessed by almost every Afghan and every Indian, as well as other countries. You can easily see that how in the past, despite the fact that Afghanistan wasn't as peaceful either, we still had the Indian actors and actresses visiting the Afghanistan, trying to produce movies. For example, Khuda Gawah, and which is a very well-known Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. You see, that clearly shows that this country has an enormous amount of love for Afghanistan, and they felt not outside home. So when they travel to Afghanistan, I don't think that they feel very sort of isolated from their home, because they feel like Afghanistan is their home. Not only that, in the past we had a lot of sort of wisdom tourists from India coming to Bamyan. We have the biggest Buddha, the Bamyan Buddha. If you look at it, and and if you research about Afghanistan, it's one of the most iconic place in Bamyan, and which is very attractive, not only for the Indian community, but for around the world. But you see, the Buddha itself was a place of worship, or a place of which was called holy for the Hindu community. And beside that, you can see that when there were troubles in India, we opened doors towards the Indian community, and we proudly have now Afghan Sikhs, which I would say their ancestors were from India, but now they're more Afghan than I am.
Right.
And we feel like they're part of our organs. They're the organs of our body, and we love them as much as we love our own siblings. Right. So that clearly shows we have a lot of love for India, and they are doing whatever it takes to help Afghanistan, but they could do more.
Right. There is something happening between Afghanistan, Iran and India, and that many people saying that is their answer to Ghadar port, and that is Chabar port. What would you say about it? I mean,
the Chabar port is something that is not only benefiting one country, but all the surrounding countries. Obviously, these pipelines, they will be running from several countries. So in order for this project to come live, or for this dream to come true, not only Afghanistan, Pakistan, India or Tajikistan or Iran, all these countries, they have to contribute towards this project. Otherwise there will be obviously nobody will benefit from that Chabar.
But do you think that is an answer apart from a very fantastic development, technical development, or future development? It's their answer to GPAC? CPAC?
CPAC.
Yeah. Do you think so?
I'm not very sure. No comments about that.
Okay. Tell me about what's happening with CPAC. Is it really going to be what is being prompted or propagated, or it's already in trouble?
To be honest, I wouldn't say it's already in trouble, but there are certain sides to it. All we can say is that we hope that these projects which are being initiated will be very well very well implemented, and we hope that they do come true for those projects that can create peace within these countries. So at this moment we can't comment.
Now, as Afghani living out of the country, and you are in a different profession, and you are in politics as well, as one can see very clearly. When you go to sleep in the night, and when you're thinking about your childhood, when you're thinking about the countries, when you see the news, what comes to your mind?
First of all, that's a very personalized question, but I'll still answer it. So the thing is, before I go to sleep, I obviously read about not only Afghanistan but all around the world, but mainly I focus on Afghanistan, and if I go more specific, Helmand province, where I'm from, I try to look, and I don't find a lot of good news apart from the explosions and killings and people dying. So these orphans, these children who lose their loved ones, they come to my mind, and I try to imagine myself in their state and their situation, and it really distresses me. It distresses me as in, like, why is nobody trying to do anything about this? And as an individual, that becomes my motive to do well, to do better, in order to and also find the right companions who think alike, or who I can learn from, or who I can share with, so that we all can come together and as a new generation give a better picture, or a new future to Afghanistan, so that the coming generation do not go through what I have been through, or what my parents or their parents have been through during the past 40 years.
I mean, while we are talking, I can assure you there are lots and lots of people, like-minded people, who may not belong to Afghanistan, who may not belong to Pakistan, who may not belong to India, but they always think about the future of the globe, or the world. In India there is a say in Sanskrit, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means the entire world is my family. And they think, like, that the coming time, and they think about what's happening. What would you want to tell those like-minded people? How would you like to bring them together, get something going on a parallel level, obviously apart from the protests and fights and so on? What would you tell them?
My message to all these generation, not only Afghan generation, but all this young generation around the globe, that look around you, see where the world has gone up to, see which opportunities do you have that are not there for some people, or see what you have but others don't have, and try and use your opportunities wisely and do something more than you can think of. Try and run an extra mile. And in specific, my message to the Afghan generation is that reflect back on what they have been through and see where their parents are, or see what situation in Afghanistan is, and learn a lesson from that. Do not follow the corrupt leaders. Do not be misguided by some cheap sold leaders. Do not be brainwashed by these I would say monsters to transform you into a devil. Try and keep away from them.
Be vigilant.
Be vigilant and raise your voice. Especially the Afghans in Afghanistan, if they see anything that's not right, raise your voice. We are in a 21st century where, you know, we have social media, we have the other TV channels, we have every other opportunity to raise our voice. There is freedom. We can easily approach certain organizations and share what we have just seen.
Hamid Sahil,
do not accept any injustices.
Thank you so much for being with us. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
You were watching Rajneeti on MATV, and with that we have to conclude today's program. अगले सप्ताह बुधवार को फिर मिलेंगे शाम को 7 से 8 के बीच में. तब तक के लिए have a very good night.